Hello and welcome to this 4-step honest guide on how to lose body fat. Now, my name is Simon Gooding. I am an online coach. I have gone through the process of losing body fat for bodybuilding competitions multiple times in my 15 to 17 years of training. And I've also helped many of my clients get down to single-digit body fat as well. So in this presentation, we're going to take a deep dive into that. And if you are interested on learning how to do all this, this is the place to be, because we're going to go into everything that you need to know. So without further ado, let's jump straight in. So the truth about burning body fat. Now, as much as this title does indicate, 1 week is not enough. And I'm sorry to break it to you, but there are lots of people out there that talk about losing lots of body fat in 1 week or dramatically changing your physique in 1 week. It doesn't happen in a week, okay? Realistic changes happen over time. So this video over here that you can see has 19 million views, is a 1 week fat loss workout program. And despite there being 19 million views on this, there is no one workout or 1 week in a workout that will give you the solution to burning lots of body fat. No lemon water, no apple cider vinegar. It doesn't work that way, okay? I'll talk about my personal journey and some of the journeys of my clients later on, but this was me over here with a 12-week competition prep that I did. I was already at a modest level of body fat, but I took 12 weeks to just take off the rest and got nicely lean for this competition and some photo shoots around that time as well. 12 weeks was all I used. Some of my clients use longer, some of my clients use shorter. It doesn't matter. The process, more so, that I'm telling you is it takes longer than 1 week, okay? The comprehensive approach to real results requires a strategic combination of cardio, yes, so a little bit here, weight training, this was all body workout, so we can't really count that, nutrition and consistency, and some specific techniques, which I'll talk you through today, okay? Do not buy into this stuff. Effective cardio strategies. So we've got two forms of cardio that are most commonly used. LISS, which is low impact, steady state, and HIIT, which is high intensity interval training. Now, LISS would be a brisk walk at a nice consistent pace, one that you can still talk in, one that you're probably not really sweating in or anything like this. And just as a side note, sweating has no correlation to fat loss. Okay, so you're maybe losing water weight when you sweat, but you're just going to drink and you'll put all that back on. So the idea to lose body fat through sweating is a myth. Track your steps and the distance that you go through, and then you can easily adjust whether you need to increase a little bit more steps or reduce down some food. We'll talk about food later on. It's a lot easier to maintain doing steps than doing high intensity cardio, especially when you start getting into the lower levels of body fat. You don't want to be doing high intensity cardio because it negatively affects your training, and then that negatively impacts your muscle retention. HIIT is still an option out there, especially if you enjoy doing HIIT. I'm not going to take it away from you. It does burn calories, so it will be effective. But I wouldn't necessarily say that it is more effective for losing body fat. It's just more time efficient, okay? Rather than running, you are walking. So it takes more time, but less impact, and probably easier to motivate yourself to do steps rather than going outside and flogging yourself on some hill sprints, for example. Pro tip: fasted cardio, which is exercising before you've eaten, burns the same amount of fat stores as fed cardio. So do it when it's most convenient for you. I like to do it first thing in the morning before I've eaten anything. I go for a nice little walk because it's convenient. But if you are a busy person first thing in the morning, you don't need to do fasted cardio. You can do it at any other point during the day, and it still amounts to the same calories burned. Weight training for fat loss. So we do need to weight train if we want to lose fat rather than just lose weight, because if we're doing lots of cardio and we're staying in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose muscle mass. The muscle mass signal to retain it is our weight training. So when we weight train, we do damage the muscle tissue, which then requires repair in order to grow or to stimulate that muscle needs to be retained. Calorie burn. Your body is going to be burning calories during your recovery, whilst you're resting, whilst you're sleeping. Don't think that you need to be exercising all day, every day. Once you do your 3 or 4 sets of cardio during the week, We don't need to be doing excessive amounts of activity every single day, over the weekend even. Just understand that. Aesthetic results. So we do want to develop muscle that is visible whilst our body fat is decreasing. This creates definition. If you do not create or continue to retain the muscle, you're going to look very flat, you're going to look very skinny, and you might be losing weight, but not all of that is body fat. And then you end up looking skinny fat, which nobody wants. On this channel, there are a 3-day, 4-day, and 5-day training programs that will provide effective fat loss and muscle gain programs. If you do them in a calorie deficit, it'll be a fat loss. If you do it in a calorie surplus, it'll be definitely more muscle growth. But if you combined the two, you can still build muscle and lose body fat, especially if you are new to training. It's available completely for free, so you can go onto my channel and search the actual workouts that you like to do per week, or you can go onto the playlist Program Archetype, or you can go onto the playlist Program Architect, and you can find them all in there. So, ab training. Whilst spot reduction is a myth, like we can't just do lots of sit-ups and then lose loads of body fat off our stomach, properly training your abdominals is still a good idea, because this will ensure that your abdominals are more visible at a higher percentage of body fat. And even some people, especially like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, right? He doesn't have visible abdominals when he gets to very low body fat. Like, he'll have veins all over his body, but his abs aren't really there. He probably doesn't train them as effectively, or maybe his genetics in his abdominal separation isn't there. But if you want to have definition at higher levels of body fat, we need to do some ab training. Leg raises, very good way to target that lower portion of your abdominals. Table crunches for the upper portion, and then dumbbell oblique crunch for the sides. Now, a cable crunch is going to train all of these, but we can target those areas a little bit more specifically. It would be like training chest, but then maybe doing an incline to hit your upper chest, for example. These are good exercises to include in your programs, though. If you go into the previous mentioned programs, there are some core training in there, but not as much. So I would encourage you to add these in, maybe on a cardio day, so that you can really focus on your weight training separately. So, nutrition, where abs are made / revealed. We'll talk about that in a second. The golden rule is we must be in a calorie deficit. Any diet works because you're in a calorie deficit. I will say that again. You must be in a calorie deficit. Consuming fewer calories than your body needs, that will then result in you losing body fat. Your body will then use body fat stores. Fat is just excess energy that we have stored. Nutrition principles, okay? So we want to calculate your maintenance and then eat 300 to 500 calories below that. I'll put the calorie calculator in the comments below. If that's not there, somebody prompt me, please. Prioritize protein, 1 to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight to preserve muscle, maybe even grow some as well. Include adequate healthy fats for healthy hormones, avocados, nuts, olive oils, etc. Time your carbohydrates around your workouts so your performance is still good and consistent. Carbohydrates are our primary fuel source. So if we can prioritize our training, we're going to perform well, we're going to retain or build more muscle. It's a great time. Stay hydrated, at least 3 liters of water daily. Okay. Abs are made in the kitchen is a saying. I would say that abs are revealed in the kitchen, unless you're doing leg raises or sit-ups in the kitchen. Even a perfect training won't reveal abs. You need to have proper nutrition, okay? And that's proper nutrition in a calorie deficit. So, the critical importance of consistency. None of the previous strategies that I have mentioned today will work unless you are consistent. Progress takes time. Real transformations take 12 to 20 plus weeks, depending on how much body fat you have. And you need to be dedicated throughout that whole time. Not 7 days, despite lots of misleading information online. Recover from setbacks. If you have slip-ups, don't abandon your plan. Simply acknowledge it and continue with your next scheduled meal or workout. There are some times in which I would suggest pulling back on calories in order to eat out, have an event or something like this. It depends on the situation. If you're going to be eating out on the weekend and having a pizza, then you're going to need to bank up some calories. There are other videos on this channel talking about that. Tracking progress. Take weekly photos, measurements, and track your workouts to see incremental changes that might not be visible day to day. Okay, incremental changes in your training program are going to be progressive overload, which helps a lot with muscle retention or growth. Specific techniques for your waist reduction. Now, these are like the little Salt Bay, little bit of herbs on top. This is not going to be dramatically changing your waistline. You need to be in a calorie deficit. You need to be training. You need to be having your nutrition in check. This is the little sprinkle on top. Stomach vacuums. This is a isometric exercise which includes a transverse abdominis intercostal muscle. So you exhale, then draw your navel up towards your spine, hold that for 10 to 20 seconds, and then release, doing 3 to 5 sets of that. I would recommend doing that first thing in the morning without any food in your stomach. It's a lot easier. Otherwise, it can feel pretty uncomfortable if you've got food in your stomach. Perform this daily and you'll strengthen your intercostal muscles, which can create a tighter waist. Training with a belt can actually be really helpful as well, because this will increase your awareness of your core. It will also encourage you to maintain a tight midsection when you're actually performing exercises like deadlifts or squats, and it will provide feedback for proper bracing techniques. It can also help you to develop a better mind-muscle connection to your abdominals, because you've got this feedback of something to actually brace into. Okay, these are the final touches. This shouldn't be taken as a sole focus throughout the whole process. Like I said, this is just the seasoning on top. 1 week progress, we need to set some realistic expectations. What can you actually expect to see within the first 7 days? Initially, you'll see some water reduction of 1 to 2 kilos of body weight, reduction in bloating, increase in energy, establishing healthy habits, and minor changes to measurements. You're probably not going to see much visual change. While visual change begins to happen, significant fat loss requires consistent effort over weeks and months, not days. Don't get carried away when you see a 2 kilo change on the scales and think, I've got this easy. I can just drop 10 kilos in 5 weeks. It won't happen like that. For example, here's one of my clients, Danny. His changes after 2 weeks were minimal. Still changes, like he lost some body fat off the love handles and the chest. But then after 12 weeks, that body fat is completely gone. His chest is so much leaner. His underwear is falling off him. His waist is tighter. His muscle mass is more defined. He's looking a lot better. Real transformations happen gradually. The photos show a modest change that is encouraging at the beginning for the first 2 weeks of dedication with your training and your nutrition. But after 12 weeks, look what you can achieve. And this is a 12 kilo difference. 12 kilos in 12 weeks is not a walk in the park. You have to be very consistent. But Danny, massive props, mate. Well done. We smashed it. So your complete fat loss guide to losing the belly fat is this. Cardio strategy. We want to do HIIT maybe 3 times per week, but also focus on your steps, 10,000 steps plus. And consider training fasted if it works for your schedule. Weight training. So you can follow one of the programs in the program Architect with progressive overload to build and retain muscle whilst burning body fat. Track your training. I can't stress that enough. It is so important. Even if it's just in your notes, it's better than nothing. Nutrition plan. You need to maintain a calorie deficit with high protein, focusing on nutrient-dense food, lots of veggies for lots of volume and not too many calories. Consistency. Commit to the process for 12 to 16 weeks. Track your progress and adjust as needed. There are some sprinkles on top with the stomach vacuums, and consider wearing a weightlifting belt when you are training to enhance your waist development. There are no shortcuts with fat loss on your belly. The methods outlined in this presentation represent an honest and science-backed approach to achieving lasting results. If you've been watching this presentation and you're taking all this information and you're thinking, this is great, but I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, I could do with some help and some guidance, the ignition point is for you. This is a starter point on your coaching experience. A 4-week program at £99 for this promotion. I have had hundreds of client results, success stories, and I have a full results or money back guarantee. Okay. The 4 spots are available and they expire the 15th of this month. So if this is something that you're interested in, get in touch on Instagram. Just DM me the word coach and I'll point you in the right direction. That is it from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching this presentation. If you have any further questions, either DM me on Instagram or leave them in the comment section below. Like this video if you found it helpful, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Take care.